Hello everyone, today we'll talk about the problem reverse string, where contrary to the name we have to reverse a list. And we have to do that in place and with constant extra memory. So this is just an easy problem that is an introduction to this standard technique. Well, let's make sure that we know what the requirements are. We're being asked to do that in place, which means that when we're given our list, we do not want to create another list that contains the reverse of the original list and return it. Instead, we want to modify this list that we're given, not return anything, and then the person that would call the function would take their list, call the function, and then their list would have been changed as necessary. So it would have been the reverse of the original list. And it goes hand in hand with this requirement of constant extra memory, in that, for instance, we cannot create another list, write the reverse of the original list to it, and then, let's say, copy it back to the list that we're given, because that would require linear extra memory. And with that in mind, we can just come up with a very simple solution, in that if we have a string, or a list in our case, then in order to reverse it, we have to exchange the first and last element, then exchange the first and last of the remaining elements, so the second and second to last, and so on, until we meet in the middle. And after that, after exchanging those pairs of elements, the list magically transforms into the reverse of its original order. And we can do that in the simplest way that doesn't utilize any, or maybe not utilize much Python magic, by just starting with two pointers, 0 and len of the string -1. And while those are two different numbers, we will move, of course, the left and forward, the right and backward, and we will swap the appropriate letters. So in C++ you would use a function like swap. In Python we can swap by this multiple assignment operator. And now we have constant extra space because we just use those few variables, which the number of variables doesn't depend on the length of our original list. We do that, of course, in linear time, and we do that in place because we modify this thing that we're given. By the way, why do you think this problem is called reverse string, but we're given a list as input? Certainly one useful property of a list that the string doesn't have is that a string, of course, is immutable. So we couldn't modify an immutable object in place because we cannot modify it. And the list, of course, is mutable, so maybe that's just the reason why we're given a list instead of a string.